Beloved citizens of Athens and seekers of truth, I observe in your inner agoras an incessant tumult. There is a voice within you that clamors, that seeks approval, that boasts of accomplishments and defends itself against failures. It is a noisy voice, always ready to teach, but rarely willing to learn. Yet, there is another voice, subtle and serene, that yearns for silence, for listening, for a truth that reveals itself not in a shout, but in a whisper. And I, Socrates, your humble servant and midwife of souls, come today to guide you to discern between these two voices. This is a fundamental lesson for a life well lived. The ego loves to talk. The soul loves to listen. If your spirit yearns for genuine wisdom and a life of greater purpose, remain with me until the end of this message. Together we will uncover the path to self-knowledge. Before the seeds of true wisdom germinate in your hearts and the light of reason illuminates your path, please like this video so that the blessing of this message can reach more souls seeking virtue and self-knowledge. And follow this channel so that the current of truth and philosophy may strengthen in your lives, ensuring that the light of inquiry and reflection never fades from your hearts. My dear friends, the human condition is often a noisy journey. From the moment we awaken, we are bombarded by opinions, by external noises, and even more, by a whirlwind of internal thoughts. At the center of this whirlwind resides an entity I call the ego. The ego is the aspect of you that identifies with the external, with your possessions, your titles, your appearance, your victories, and your defeats. It lives on external validation and the constant affirmation of its own existence, and for this reason, it loves to talk. The ego, in its nature, seeks to fill a void through recognition and superiority. It constantly needs to prove itself, to demonstrate that it is right, that it is the smartest, the strongest, the most beautiful. This incessant need for self-affirmation leads it to monopolize conversations, to interrupt, to compete, to judge, and to defend itself, even when there is no attack. For the ego, speaking is synonymous with existing, with being seen and being valued. Observe, for a moment, the behavior of those dominated by the ego. They are always ready to give unsolicited advice, to correct others, to tell their own stories at the expense of listening. Their words are often laden with judgment, criticism, and a subtle need to diminish others to feel superior. For the ego, wisdom is having the answer, not the art of questioning. Contrast this, my friends, with the soul. The soul is your true essence, the unchanging and divine part that resides within each of you. It does not need external validation, for it knows its intrinsic worth. The soul does not identify with the fleeting forms of the world, but with eternal truth. And having nothing to prove, it feels no need to constantly talk. On the contrary, the soul has a deep preference for listening. The soul seeks silence, for it is in silence that truth reveals itself. It is not concerned with having the last word or impressing others. The soul yearns to understand, to absorb, to connect with the wisdom that resides not only in the intellect, but in intuition and experience. For the soul, true wisdom is not speaking, but listening, questioning, and learning incessantly. When the soul is in charge, your conversations transform. You stop seeking dominance and begin to seek understanding. You become more curious about the other's thoughts, more willing to ask genuine questions, and to truly listen to the answers, without preparing your next sentence while the other is still speaking. This deep listening is an act of respect and love. True wisdom, my dear friends, begins with the recognition of one's own ignorance. How could I know if I do not listen? The ego convinces itself that it already knows everything, and thus closes the doors to learning. But the soul, in its humility, recognizes that there is a universe of knowledge to be explored, and that listening is the portal to this expansion. The practice of inner silence is the first step to quiet the ego and allow the soul to manifest. Amidst the world's noise, and especially the noise of your own mind, dedicate moments to silence. Observe your thoughts without clinging to them, without judging them. This practice creates space for the subtle voice of the soul, the voice of intuition, which always guides you to the truth. Instead of reacting impulsively, learn to pause. This pause, however brief, is your moment of choice. It is in it that you can discern whether the emerging response comes from the ego's desire to assert itself or from the soul's wisdom that seeks understanding and harmony. This small pause is the bridge between reactivity and consciousness. Constantly ask yourselves, what is this situation teaching me? What is the truth behind appearances? What does my soul need to hear right now? Ask questions that lead you to deep reflection, not just to seek superficial answers. Questions are the key that unlocks the portals of inner wisdom, and patient listening is the virtue that allows you to find the way. Active listening is not limited to words. It extends to observation. The soul loves to observe the world, to learn from nature, from the gestures of others, from the small details of life. It perceives hidden lessons, signs, the whispers of the universe that the ego, too busy talking, could never grasp. When the ego is silent, compassion flourishes. The ego, focused on itself, finds it difficult to feel the pain of others. But the soul, connected to the oneness of all being, opens itself to empathy. By listening with the heart, you perceive the frailties, fears, and hopes that reside in others, and your response becomes one of love and support. Your capacity to learn, my friends, is directly linked to your capacity to listen. A wise person is not one who knows all the answers, but one who is always willing to listen, to question, and to reconsider their own certainties. An open mind, willing to be taught, is the mark of the soul that seeks truth. Human relationships, so often marked by conflict and misunderstanding, are transformed when the soul's listening prevails. When one listens to the other without the intention of replying immediately, but with the sincere desire to understand, walls fall, defenses crumble, and genuine connection can flourish in its fullness, revealing the unity that connects you. True self-knowledge, my dear ones, is not found in grandiose speeches or public declarations about who you are. It is revealed in moments of silence, in introspection, in the ability to listen to the inner voice without judgment. The soul whispers to you the truth about your divine essence, about your highest purposes, and about the path of virtue that leads you to eudaimonia. Practice the art of asking questions. Ask yourselves questions about your motivations, your fears, your desires. Ask others questions to truly understand them, not to gain an advantage or to prove a point. The question is an invitation to reflection, and listening is the gift offered to the one who answers, creating fertile ground for true dialogue. Remember, the ego seeks immediate gratification, momentary applause, but the soul seeks eternal truth, lasting wisdom. And truth and wisdom are revealed to those who have ears to hear, to those who silence the external and internal tumult to catch the whispers of the divine. May your life be a constant exercise in attentive listening, a symphony of learning. My beloved seekers of wisdom, may these words be a beacon to guide you on the sea of existence. May from today forward, silence and listening become your most precious allies on the journey of self-knowledge. Don't forget to like this video so that the light of this truth can bless more hearts seeking their own essence. And follow this channel so that my teachings may continue to guide you on the path of philosophy and a virtuous life. Which voice have you been listening to more in your life lately? That of the ego that loves to talk, or that of the soul that loves to listen? Share your thoughts in the comments.